Hey, hello folks. Thanks for tuning in to Uganda and thanks for subscribing to our subsequent channels here on YouTube. As the whole world is still taking a closer look at the Kenyan election, of course, Kenya Choice 2022, Kenya Decides 2022, and Kenya elections 2022. Of course, we'll have to have a deeper look as, of course, the clock ticks closer to, of course, the declaration of the official results as per the IEBC proclamation made today. Of course, this day today, it is the 15th in Kenya. Of course, IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati came out and said at around 9:30 a.m. of course, that it had verified, validated and declared the results of 259 constituencies. Now, the other 32 constituencies were meanwhile only awaiting declaration. Of course, it is still taking or it is still shaping a course. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, has completed verifying all Forms 34A and Forms 34B 6 days after Kenyans went to the ballot. Now, as of today, as I've just told you, that the IEBC, or the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, had verified, validated and declared the results of 259 constituencies. Now, some of our reporters, of course, who are on location at Bomas of Kenya, and that is the IEBC National Tally Center, said at the time that all the votes of all the 290 constituencies, as well as the diaspora constituency, had been verified and validated. That's the update you can get right here as we, of course, await for the official results being declared today. Kenyans went to the poll last week on Tuesday, that was the 9th of August 2022, to choose their 50th president. And the race had many contenders, but of course it is a tight race between William Ruto, the deputy president of Uhuru Kenyatta and the Kenya at large, plus Raila Odinga. Now, what remains now is just about 32 constituencies, as I just told you to go. Barring any serious situation, we should be able to have the final declaration in an hour or 2 hours time. So at around 3 p.m., that's East African Standard Time, the official results, and the whole world, particularly Kenya, will be knowing who their 50th president is. Now, after Forms 34A and 34B have been validated and declared, what follows? The processing of 34C. Now, this gives a tabulation of all the presidential election results from 290 constituencies, the diaspora constituency, as well as a breakdown of all the votes in every polling station across the country. Now, Form 34C is a compilation of all Forms 34B into one document and is what IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati is expected to announce the final figures for the presidential race at 3 p.m. as already announced by the chairman. So far, Addako party presidential candidate David Mwaure has bowed out of the race. Now, Mr. Mwaure on Sunday said he did not think he stood a chance based on the votes he had garnered. Now, I would love to take you chap into what you do expect, what happens after the IEBC announces Kenya's 50th president. I'll love to take you through that in case you didn't know, in case you're not informed. You gotta get the information right here. Now, it is worth noting that the winner, as dictated by the Kenyan constitution, must have met a requirement threshold before being announced or declared. However, if there is no winner announced, a fresh election shall be held within 30 days after the previous election, and only the candidates who received the greatest number of votes and the candidates who received the second greatest number of votes shall be the ones to participate in that, of course, fresh election, in case no one acquires the constitutional requirement of getting the requirement of 50+1 vote. Now, anxiety continues to bite among Kenyans as they await for the Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to announce the electoral results of the August 9th, 2022 presidential election. This after the commission confirmed on Monday morning that they have finalized the tallying process, and what remains is Chairman Wafula Chebukati declaring the winner. It is worth noting that the winner, as dictated by the Constitution of Kenya, must have met a requirement threshold before being declared. Now, the chairman is also required to announce the results through a televised address. However, if there is no win announced due to nobody attaining the 50+1 vote threshold, a fresh election, as I've just told you, shall be held within 30 days after the previous election, and only the candidates who received the greatest number of votes and the candidates who received the second greatest number of votes shall be the ones to participate. After the declaration, here's what ensues until the president-elect is sworn in as head of state. 1. The IEBC chairman is required to offer the president-elect a certificate. The candidate must present themselves physically to collect the certificate. 2. The chairman must deliver a written notification of the results to the Chief Justice and the incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta in this case. 3. In an event of a petition challenging the results, it must be filed within 7 days from the declaration of the results. So in case one of the candidates doesn't feels unsatisfied or doesn't feel satisfied about the results, he or she has only 7 days from this day to file an election petition. Now the Supreme Court should hear and determine the election petition within 14 days after it has been filed, and its decision shall be final. Now, if the Supreme Court rules in favor of the petitioner, the results are annulled and a fresh election is ordered to be held within 60 days. In a 2017 general election, for example, the August 8th elections were challenged by Raila Odinga of the ODM party, leading to the court suspending the results. A repeat election was held on the October 26th, 2017, where President Uhuru Kenyatta emerged the winner. 4. In the contest that no petition is filed at the apex court, the president-elect shall be sworn in publicly before the Chief Justice or the Deputy Chief Justice if the Chief Justice is absent on the first Tuesday 2 weeks after the date of the declaration of the result by the presidential election by the IEBC. Now, the president-elect then takes an oath of office for the execution of the functions of the office as prescribed in Addako 141 as subsection 3 of the Constitution of Kenya. Now, upon taking the oath, the president shall sign a certificate of inauguration, and the outgoing president shall hand over to the president the instruments of power and authority, a sword and a constitution in that regard. Now, what happens, understanding deeper what the 50+1 vote rule means in presidential elections. In case you didn't know, I would love to take you through quickly as we edge closer to getting the final results right here from Bomas of Kenya. Now, as the tallying process nears the end, Kenyans still remain anxious about who will be declared the one to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta and become the 50th President of the Republic of Kenya. Among the factors to be considered in the determination of the winner, according to the IEBC, is the 50+1 vote, of course, rule, which has remained unclear on what it really means to some of the audience following us, or even some of the Kenyans and even people across the globe. So we would love to take you through this. Among the factors to be considered, many people have been asking, does it mean that the one must attain 50% of the votes and 1%, or is it really literally a single vote? Now we take you deeper. The rule simply means that the presidential runner or the winner must have gained garnered 50% of the total votes plus one more vote. I repeat, this rule simply means that the presidential winner must have garnered 50% of the total votes plus one more vote. The threshold is enshrined in Article 1384 of the Kenyan Constitution, which dictates that a candidate shall be declared elected as president if the candidate receives A, more than half of all the votes cast in the election, reads part of subsection 4. At the same time, the candidate must have attained a 25% win in the majority of the counties across the country. At least 25% of the votes cast in each of more than half of the counties, reads part B of subsection 4. What happens if the candidate fails to attain the threshold? Listen carefully. If the event in the event that one fails to get the required 50% plus one vote, then a presidential election rerun will be done within 30 days from the initial election. If no candidate is elected, a fresh election shall be held within 30 days after the previous election, and in that fresh election, the only candidate shall be the candidate or the candidates who receive the greatest number of votes, and the candidate or the candidates who receive the second greatest number of votes, read subsection 5. Now, I would love to take you through what, of course, the presidential election petition timelines according to the Supreme Court of Kenya. Of course, you need to get to know what it means and what it takes for the Chief Justice for the Supreme Court of Kenya to do or to handle an election petition like this. Now, the independent electoral, of course, as I told you, it confirmed that by 3 p.m. today, they shall have announced, or they would have announced, the winner. We are still waiting on to that, of course. So I will have to take you through this, of course. After casting their vote, Kenyans are now glued on their TVs, phones, and newspapers, awaiting the results of the August 9th presidential election. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, 6 days after the election, announced that they had completed the verification of Forms 34A and 34B, signaling that the announcement of the presidential result is imminent. The final tallies from IEBC will not only determine who Kenya's elected president is, but also pose a dilemma on whether the three Waihiga Mwaure considered defeat presidential candidates in the race will be satisfied with the results, or there might be an election petition as witnessed in the previous election. After the 2017 general election, Raila Odinga filed a petition of the Supreme Court where former Chief Justice David Maraga ruled that the August 8th general election was marred with illegalities and irregularities. This rendered the general election null and void, prompting Kenyans to go back to the ballot for a repeat election on October 26th, where Uhuru Kenyatta emerged the winner. With the declaration of the presidential elections now hours away, here are the timelines for a presidential petition according to the Supreme Court. The petition challenging the results shall be filed within 7 days from the declaration of the results by IEBC. This means that if Wafula Chebukati announces the results today, a candidate who wishes to challenge them should file a petition before August 22nd, 2022. 24 hours after filing the petitioner is supposed to serve the respondent. A response to the petition shall be filed and served within 4 days after the respondent was served. In 24 hours after a response to the petition was filed, a rejoinder should be filed and served. Interlocutory applications should be filed and served within 24 hours from filing the response to the petition. 24 hours after the date of filing and service of an interlocutory application, a response to the interlocutory application should be filed and served. Third-party applications should be filed and served 24 hours from the date of filing a response to the petition. A pre-trial conference will be held 8 days from the date of filing the presidential election petition. Immediately after the pre-trial conference, hearing of the petition will take place in the Supreme Court. The petition will then be determined 14 days from the day it was filed. Now, we shall be bringing you more updates and everything you need to know in regards to the Kenyan presidential election. My name is Moses Wamala. I wish our brothers and sisters, the Kenyans, the very best, and of course looking forward to having a peaceful transfer of power plus peaceful Kenya. Goodbye and be blessed. We'll be right back. Ugandan Shah.